another Polkadoodles video. I thought I'd just show you a bunch of samples that I have created using the newest collection from Polkadoodles. So here's a little flip through some of the ones that I have created using die cuts and chipboard on this one in particular, plus the new polka dots for the centres of the flowers. This one is using an old background from my stash, plus the new flower dies and the gorgeous new scripty hello die with the bubble that goes with it as well. This one's just playing around with one of the patterned papers, using one of the stamped sentiments and one of the die sets that has the gorgeous trowel and fork in there and the gorgeous gardening gloves as well, which I have just coloured in with my alcohol pens. Then I've got this one here which kind of reminds me of pickup sticks, where I've just added a bunch of the different tools from the garden, all higgledy-piggledy on top of each other, and used a few of the polka dots in there as well. I've also, on the few cards previous and on quite a lot of the later cards, used the gorgeous sentiments where you get all of the stamps on the same stamp set and then you just die cut a bunch of them all at the same time. Another one using that gorgeous large hello die, but this time using one of the foliage dies as a stencil to create the background. A really simple one, just using the outline of the Monstera leaf die from the greenhouse set. Again, you could have done a stencil background like the previous one with this, or you could use the previous one and do a card like this with it as well, just to give a different kind of effect for a card. This one is using the gorgeous greenhouse die and combining it with a lot of the gorgeous tiny little vegetables that you can create. Aren't those little tomatoes so adorable? And I've also used some linen cardstock to cut out my flower pots on this one to give them a little bit of a different look. And I have also raised up that greenhouse with a little bit of 3D foam just to give a little bit of a shadow on the card, but a very simple kind of card, this one. This one's using some of the larger kind of icons in one of the die sets, a gorgeous birdhouse and a wheelbarrow with some lovely foliage and flowers in there. Again, colouring a lot of these die cuts in with my alcohol pens just to give different sort of shading and, you know, expand on any coloured cardstock you might have in your stash. Another one using those tiny little vegetables. They're just so adorable and so cute to put together as well, and you can use different tops for the carrots and play around with whether this is a turnip or a beetroot as well, so really cute that you can play around with that. Another one using the gorgeous greenhouse and using a few of the Polkadoodle stencils to create a background as well, and then muting the background with a bit of vellum behind the greenhouse and adding in a bunch of foliage and flowers. A really simple one using the stunning bike stamp with coordinating die and this gorgeous sunset. It kind of looks like it could be ripples over the sea, but it doesn't have to be over the sea. It can just be a beautiful simple background like this. This one uses some beautiful birds and florals from one of the stamp sets as well, and a little kindness grows as a sentiment, plus one of the stencils in the background to create that wood grain effect too. Another one using some stencils to give a cloudy background, and then I've got a watering can and 3 flowers in the foreground from one of the stamp sets as well. This one is actually using a piece of MDF to create the embossed background on here, and then using one of the stamps in the foreground with a little bit of paper piecing for the trough of the plants there as well. Some more paper piecing on this card, creating a big collection of a load of gardening things, perfect for any gardener or someone who loves gardening as well. We've got the beautiful welly boots and the watering can with the patterned papers on, and then I've just used my alcohol pens to pick colours that are very similar to what's in the patterned paper to colour the rest of the elements as well. Another one with that stunning bike, but this time creating my own watercoloured background, just putting the bike on first to get a rough idea of where I wanted the path to go, adding the path in, doing a little bit of sky, and then once it was dry adding in those little tufts of grass on there as well. This one's super duper simple, using some masking paper from Polkadoodles to mask off this large plant in the foreground and this little plant on the ladder as well. So a really nice way of creating a smooth one layer card that's very cheap for posting. One using the same stamp repeated 3 times, using some watercolours to colour them in, and a sort of wash of watercolour in the background with drips splattered into it to give a really messy kind of look to it, a little bit of overstamping, and then the sentiment on the foreground. And then finally, I've also done this one, which is using a lot of the gorgeous little icons to create a complete background and then watercolouring it in. But you could also bring in the Colour Block Duo stencils and do a similar version, but using the colour block shapes with some of the similar colours to create a coloured in version as well. If you don't like colouring, you could use those stencils too. So hope you liked all of these samples. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!